Welcome to the second edition of NLP Bites. These are light bite videos explaining a little bit about how NLP works and why it's so effective. And we're going to be talking neuroscience, we're going to be talking behavioural science, neuropsychology, and you may not realise it because we're going to combine it with NLP, and NLP is simple to understand. These videos are simple to understand, and hopefully I'll be putting things in a way that you can relate to and that makes sense to you. And in this particular video, we're going to be talking about why habits form, why NLP is so effective for eliminating and changing bad habits so that you get what you want, because NLP is all about enabling you to get what you want. If excellence is what you want, NLP will help you get excellent at what you do. If just stopping bad habits is what you want, a bad habit that you have, it might be smoking or overeating. If you want to help other people or you want to help yourself stop smoking or stop overeating, then NLP can certainly help. And in this video, I'm going to explain a little bit about how that actually takes place, how stopping smoking can happen for you, how you can work with other people to help them stop smoking, help them lose weight. And that's useful, isn't it? And NLP is useful, very useful. Now, talking about habits, in the last video I talked about how NLP techniques tap in to the natural pleasure centers that we have in the brain. So the basic pattern of behaviour is that we decide on a whim, maybe, to do something. Because not all behaviour is consciously thought through, is it? And this is a big frame, if you like. This is a big thought pattern for NLP, is that lots of what we do, lots of our thinking is unconscious. Lots of our behaviour is unconscious. We have a part of our brain that looks after unconscious processes, things that are out of our awareness, like breathing and like some of the talking that we do. Although I'm thinking a lot of this through consciously, I've also allowed my unconscious to just set off and form sentences for me. I'm not thinking through every word, I'm thinking through parts of what I want to say, and that's what, the unconscious and conscious processes work together. Now, think about a habit. It might be smoking or it might be overeating, but think about a habit that you may have had or you may have at the moment that you don't want. Did you decide consciously that you were going to go ahead and do that the first time that you did it? You may have done. And the thing about behaviour is that it becomes unconscious, and then it becomes tricky to stop. And you can stop straight away. And you can decide to stop. But what happens when you repeat behaviour is that you make a decision, unconsciously perhaps, you make a decision to carry on that behaviour. Could be nail biting, couldn't it? You bite your nail, you notice that the nail's been, removed at the end, and you think unconsciously perhaps, oh, that was effective, that got rid of that nail quite quickly, and it looks okay, looks quite neat, I'm going to continue and do that. You may think that consciously, or you may just think unconsciously, no problem there, I'll just carry on with my life, and then next minute you catch yourself biting your nails. And that's how habits form. Now, they form because, one of the reasons they form is because when you carry out a behaviour and you get what you want, it sets off this reaction, this dopamine reaction in the brain. So the brain says, oh, well done, you did it. And dopamine's released in the brain, and it goes through the brain, and dopamine's an addictive substance. It's a chemical, and it flows when there's a shower in the brain, and it flows throughout the body, and you feel good. And actually what's happening is this is part of the reward center in the brain, the pleasure center. It's a reward. You're rewarded for your behavior by perhaps feeling good. Now, smoking, cigarettes and other substances and overeating, these things have release chemicals automatically because you're putting something into your body, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that. With nail biting, for example, you complete the behavior, you complete it successfully, it triggers the release of dopamine, and it makes you feel good. Whether you notice it or not, I don't know. It may be an unconscious reaction in your body. Your body says, something was different there and I quite liked it. And what happens, and this is important, is that a habit is formed because you've received either a conscious or an unconscious reward for your actions. And when we get rewarded for our actions, and it could be that the reward is dopamine, and the dopamine effect is addictive, so therefore you go after it again. So your body will decide, either consciously or unconsciously, your brain will decide, I'm going to do that again. And it may possibly, and in most cases, I think this becomes an unconscious process. You don't deliberately decide to do something, you just do it, and you do it successfully, and it makes you feel slightly better, and then you do it again because it made you feel slightly better. Think about, goals and objectives. When you decide on a goal or objective and you plan it and you go ahead and you do it and you achieve it, makes you feel great. And one of the reasons for that is because you've got the dopamine reward flooding your body, you feel great. And NLP helps people to design goals for different areas of their life and design objectives that they want. NLP helps replace unwanted behaviours with behaviours that we want, and it takes people through thought patterns of change. It helps people replace unwanted and unconscious thought patterns with conscious and thought through objectives. And when we achieve these conscious and thought through objectives or goals, it may even just be a pattern of thought, a simple pattern of thought. When we achieve that pattern of thought and it replaces an unwanted behaviour, then that makes us feel good. And one of the reasons it makes us feel good is because it releases this dopamine in the brain, and that helps. That certainly helps. And therefore we're more likely in the future, if the dopamine release is strong enough, and if we're classifying the objective as important enough, then in the future we're more likely to reproduce that behaviour than we are the unwanted behaviour. And so scientifically we've used reward in terms of objectives, we've used the patterns of thoughts that we produce in the brain to produce behaviour that we want and replace unwanted behaviour. So in terms of nail biting, we might decide to substitute the thought of, I want to bite my nails, that we may get unconsciously. We may decide to notice, I'm thinking about biting my nails, and replace that thought with something else. NLP techniques have very subtle ways of replacing what we don't want with what we want, and it means that we get more of what we want, which actually makes us feel good, and it sets off this reward system in the way that we want it. So sometimes by becoming conscious of what's happening in your brain, then we can do something about unwanted behaviours, unwanted thoughts and unwanted results, and replace them with what we want. And that's just a little insight into a part of how NLP can work for you. There are lots of techniques for helping people stop smoking, for nail biting, for simple habits that we want to stop that may become threatening to our health in the future. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. My name's Anthony Beardsall. I've enjoyed talking this through with you, and I hope you got some good value from it. If you want to join us at the NLP Academy, then we've got professional NLP training courses, certification courses there that will accredit you as an NLP professional, an NLP practitioner, master practitioner or trainer, and help you develop a career in NLP working with other people. If that's what you want, then I'd be delighted to work with you. If you just want some more NLP bites, then there'll be more of these type of videos on the way. And it's been a pleasure being with you today. Thank you ever so much. Have a great week. My name's Anthony Beardsall. Bye for now.